2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Everybody, welcome to Teaching Crypto on a huge day in crypto. This is AZcrypto, MrFOMO. MrFOMO, big time fake news this morning as a fake story about ETFs being denied, pushed Bitcoin all the way down to 40. We came right back, and a lot of the alts went down too with Bitcoin. We came right back to 43, and now we're kind of, going sideways a little bit here, but never a dull moment in crypto, and you could almost predict this was going to happen before ETFs get approved, which is, still we're looking at a January 10th official date here, but leaks are coming and going here, and seems like it was a bit of manipulation this morning to try to push prices down.
Yeah, there's nothing like a good fake news story to shake the trees a little bit, and that's kind of what happened this morning. You alerted me to it. I wasn't even paying attention to it. I was doing stuff around the house. But yeah, I mean, it's funny how fast that happens. And to me, this, and you guys might think this is a bit of a stretch, but to me, I think this shows that there's a lot of people who are buy the rumor, sell the news on this ETF, and they've got an itchy trigger finger when it comes to their Bitcoin and this market. And so I think a lot of people were waiting until that ETF hit. And then when they saw that news come across that, no, it's not going to hit, it's going to be postponed, it's going to be denied, they got scared and they got out fast. And I think that's what shows us that there are going to be some people that when this ETF does finally hit, they're going to pull their money right out after everybody starts to FOMO in. And I just think that was an indicator of that, because like you said, we didn't drop below 40. We came right back up to 43 again. And so it shows that, those people that were scared don't make up that much of the market, or the people that are going to sell when the ETF hits don't make up that much of the market. And there are still people that are holding that line, waiting for, and something we all know is true, that halving event that's coming or at the beginning of April, that will send this market into a frenzy.
So I kind of agree with you, but I also disagree with you. Let me explain. I do think the ETF will be approved. I've been saying that for months and months. You can go back and look at the shows in the summer. I think you'll actually see a big pump the day it gets approved. I'm looking at around 48K to see if I'm right. And yes, I do think there'll be a pullback, but I don't think it's going to be a long pullback. You could be looking at weeks, maybe a month at most. And then once they announce rate cuts and the Bitcoin halving, which is April 1st, gets closer, you're going to see things really, I think, explode. And we're going to be on a full-on bull run where we've started. The game has started, but the hitting and the touchdowns and the scoring really hasn't started yet. And I anticipate that's going to happen over the next few weeks and definitely over the next few months. And I anticipate February into March is going to be really hopping here. But there is a scenario that plays out in my mind where we get an approval and there's rapid FOMO and we have like a heightened green period. And then we have a bit of a pullback in February, and then we come back right before the halving. I do think there'll be a pullback between now and April 1st, but I don't necessarily think we're going below 40 like you may think. I think the people that sold today, some retail, but I think some of those people are trying to manipulate the market, trying to get prices even lower because, right? I mean, they couldn't get it below 40. How much lower could they really get it then? Because a lot of people, the data shows, are holding their Bitcoin over the last 6 to 12 months. Many people have accumulated and they're holding and they're not selling. And their plan is not to sell for at least another 6 to 9 months. Now, if Bitcoin goes crazy and we have an 80K Bitcoin in the next 3 or 4 months, that could change, right? People are going to definitely take profits. But I don't think that many people are planning to take profits between 45 and 50. There will be some, absolutely, but not a ton.
But I think there are people that are anticipating that fall off, like myself. But I do, like you said, I think there will be an initial pump once that ETF gets approved, because you're going to see a lot of people FOMO in. And I think that those people, I think there are people who are willing to take profits at those levels. Not that they'll be totally out of the market, but I could see an initial quick pump and then a sell-off pretty quickly after that. And to me, that doesn't signal a bad thing. That signals that, there are people that are in this market to play this market, and those people will be back, right? They don't stay gone for long, and they can't stay gone for long because, like you said, it's not going to fall that far. And so I do think that there will be a pump initially, but I think that there are a lot of people waiting for that, buy the rumor, sell the news. And so I do think some people will jump off that ship right there in the beginning, but they'll be back. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? When we have these dips in the market right before the Fed is about to cut rates, right before we're going to get to the April halving event, right before the month before the halving event where Bitcoin always goes crazy. I'm looking for March to be a very hot month. I think that there will be plenty of accumulation periods in between that. Not plenty, but there'll be a few more accumulation periods. But right now, this was an opportunity to grab the projects you like at a bit of a discount, maybe a 10% discount this morning. And so what other markets are giving you a 10% discount, just on a whim at any time? This is like an end or a beginning of the year fire sale, and we had the opportunity to fill our bags on it. So there's a lot of negativity that surround these little downturns, but I think that these downturns are healthy and they give us an opportunity to fill our bags so that we can get richer later.
Now, we have a huge show today because, by the way, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell notification. Always super chats available. We are going to, coming up, give you each 4 coins that we think you really should have in the year 2024, and we'll give you various reasons for that. I want to do a quick Voyager update here. I know we just did a Voyager so earlier, but we did get a court document today from Paul Hage. So I just want to go over a couple things, and they're not, to me, that positive. And so we always want to be honest with our viewers, especially since some of them are still looking for Voyager recovery. So MrFOMO, we got a little more insight, a little more than your email about FTX. And this reads the following, and thank you so much to Hero on X for sharing this summary. FTX, it says, filed affirmative claims against the FTX debtors in the amount of $583,100,000 based on their fraudulent contact with respect to Voyager. Remember, FTX has a claim against Voyager. We withheld money, so there's a counterclaim here. Now, here's what kind of is very, to me, not so great in terms of the tone. Immediate settlement with FTX may not be achievable. Parties will need to litigate. All involved are mindful that litigation can take months or even, MrFOMO, years. And that's not what you want to hear, because we talked about this. First, you got to set a court date, and that could take several months, a lot of months. And then the actual court could take several months or a year or more. And then there's no guarantee who would win. So, and the lawyers have to pay themselves. So you're looking at possibly multiple years. We were hoping initially that when mediation started in September, remember, originally it was mediation supposed to be in the summer, then the fall, then September, then October. We were hoping by now we would have a resolution. Seems like they're not close to a resolution. And if they don't get one, I would say for the next 60 days, you're looking at setting a court date, which hopefully would happen in the year 2024. But then best case, you're not getting paid till 2025. Not good at all. I really hope mediation works, but it's hard to be optimistic given the tone of this release.
To me, that all that says to me is they plan on clipping our wings for another bull run, right? So that we got clipped at the end of our last bull run. We're going to get clipped for this bull run. We're going to have to wait until the next bull run after that before we can take advantage of the money that we trusted Voyager with. So that is super disappointing to know that, one, that, as he corrected me, these mediation hearings don't just take 30 to 45 days. He said this could be months long, this mediation process. And there are some that have talked to him that said that he sounded hopeful that he could get at least 75% of that money. And if that's true, then that's still a positive. But if we're waiting until after this bull run is already going, or even till the end of this bull run, we've missed out on a huge opportunity cost there. And it's it's disappointing because that's another, what, 22.5% that we could get our hands of our final snapshot. And so it's frustrating for me, but I know that there are a lot of people out there that had way more money than I did in Voyager that are way more frustrated because that opportunity cost is exponential as you go up in the dollar amounts. So I can't imagine a lot of the people who had millions, hundreds of thousands on this platform that are still waiting for that. That's life-changing money that they're holding on to until they can square all this away. So my heart goes out to a lot of people. I had a lot of money on there for me and my family, but hearing some of these stories that we've heard, this has got to be heart-wrenching for a lot of people out there who had that kind of money on there, and I really feel bad for them.
Yeah, and then here, really briefly, and we'll get off this topic, we'll talk about recovery and, getting on a more positive tone to start the new year. Talks about 3AC. The wind down debtor has agreed upon a claim in the Three Arrows capital proceeding of approximately $675 million. That sounds amazing. Remember, for every $20 million they recover, each customer gets 1% back of their portfolio. However, if you keep reading, it talks about the fact that should they agree to a settlement, meaning like they can't go into a lot of details on this because they're kind of involved in the case. Should they be successful, Voyager credited should understand that such distributions like to be received over a period of multiple years. Again, you don't want to hear that years. Okay, months, weeks is great. Days is amazing. Years, not so much, because remember, there's wind down money that belongs to the customers, and over years, what is left of that? The only recourse people would have is to talk to the judge and say, hey, these guys don't have a immediate timetable to resolve this. And it's like, we talked about this in the air. I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. Would you rather get $1,000 check today, or would you rather get a check for $1,800 4.5 to 5 years from now? I think everyone would take the 1,000. One, it gives you closure, and two, it gives you more power. Cost, opportunity, time is worth money. And so that, this has been going on for now. Don't even
like Edward is saying there, he got that money back from Voyager and put it into Maple Finance, and he's almost back to even because he got that money back already, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we get that money now and it's half of what it will be 4.5 years from now, we can turn that into the money that it will be 4 years from now, 5 years from now. And then we can turn it into more money again in the next bull run. And so I think that's a no-brainer if we could pull that off, but I don't think that we have that much sway or that much opportunity. But to be honest with you, that would be the best option, because what you're seeing lawyers who are looking at this process and saying, yeah, this mediation is going to take months to years. This 3AC thing is going to take years, a year to years. And when they look at that, they're telling you this is a complicated process, but in the back of their minds, they're also hearing the cash register ching, because they're going to make more money the longer this drags out. Well, and so I don't see him sitting in these mediation meetings with any sense of urgency, because he's got that 110 million he wants to soak up.
Yeah, sadly, the best case would be, all right, how much money can we get from FTX in the next 30 days? Bam. Okay. Let's distribute that. And then 3 to 4 months later, how much can we give everyone else that's left? Bam. That's it. We'll keep just a little bit in case we are successful 3AC. We'll send you those checks down the road if we get them. If people were able to vote, that's what they would vote for. There's no doubt in my mind. But you said we don't have the power. We'll get the judge's information. Maybe we'll put it in the description, Mr. FOMO.
Because I think it already is. I'll have to look, but I think it's already in the description. If not, I'll put it there.
Let's move on to some more positive things here. Because otherwise we're just going to rehash old news.
We should beat the dead horse.
Yeah. So let's talk about recovery, and let's talk about not financial advice, but making some money. I wanted to go into 4 coins that I think people should have, again, for entertainment, certainly, and do your own research. I'm not saying to buy these tonight, that you should have in your portfolio for the year 2024. Now, some of them are obvious and safe, and a couple I think maybe wouldn't be on people's radar. Maybe they would. Okay. So here's the thing. Obviously, I would say this. you probably want to have obviously some type of exposure to Bitcoin. How much you want to have is up to you. You probably most likely would want to have some type of exposure to ETH. Now, I've explained this before. ETH has not run yet. I anticipate a big ETH run. My prediction for ETH is anywhere between, it's a big gap here, 5 to 10,000 in the bull run. Conservatively, 5,000 I think is worst case, but I really could see a $10,000 ETH. So right there, that's still very stable. You don't have to worry about it ever, going away, pulling a Luna, anything like that. Now, I'm going to pick something.
I think we're probably both. I think without saying, Bitcoin and ETH should probably be considered. I mean, that goes without saying. We're
here,
not
I'm going to talk about one
on there.
I'm going to talk about one that almost 2x from when they brought it up, and now it's on a retrace. So not financial advice. This might be a great time to look back into Muse. So if you bought Muse when we brought it up and you took profits in the 22 range, congratulations. Because when we brought it up, it was hovering around 11. And it within a week, Mr. FOMO did a 2x. Right now, market cap is sitting at 7.7 million. Again, you go to the website, Unleash the Power of Music by Blockchain. It's kind of a competitor to Audius here that we talked about before in the past. But Muse is a newer project. What I love about Muse, and I've said this, right now only 54% of the supply is available, 509,000. Listen to this. Market cap, when we talked about it, was between 5 and 6 million, right? Right now, we're still sitting at 7.7 million. The all-time high was $125.90. Right now, you're sitting at $15.27. Now, interestingly, yesterday was at $18.69. It did go down. So if you're lucky and picked this up this morning when Bitcoin crashed to 40K, you got it under 14. Well, it's already over 15, and it's going to push, probably my guess is by tomorrow, unless something crazy happens with Bitcoin, getting it back to 16, and then who knows where it gets the end of January. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a $25 Muse, honestly, by the end of the month. So here, not only in the short term, but I feel like this could get to an all-time high. We talked about it. It's a nice all-time high. You're looking, I would think that breaking all-time highs, I could see this 10xing over the next 12 to 15 months. Again, there might be other coins that do better, but this is a low market cap, folks. Low supply. The tokenomics are good. Okay. Now, how high it goes, how well do they market itself? Are people really using it that much? We'll see. But I think we've talked about AI, we talked about gaming, and music is going to be right there too. So if I were you, I would look into Muse. It's easily available on exchanges, and I think you're going to hear more and more about it. After our show, I noticed some people had brought it up, some bigger influencers. So maybe some of those people are watching Teaching Crypto. By the way, please share the show if you haven't hit that like, hit that subscribe button, help us get to 2K, because we've been giving you some winners recently. All right, now, next, Mr. FOMO, I'm going to go a little bit safe. However, let me say this. Even though this is a safe one with a big market cap, Chainlink here has kind of been consolidating for a while. It has done very well over the last 12 months. And it started doing well before some of the other tokens, right? Especially the big dogs. So Chainlink right now, I think we're at a kind of a nice place. Again, because of today's dip, and that's part of the reason we're doing the show today. Take advantage of this. You can get Chainlink at $14.27. Well, what is that? Well, that's 8.1 billion. Okay, market cap. Not bad. Now, if you were able to snag it earlier today, you got it in the low 13s. It's already up to 14. All-time high for Chainlink is $52.99. I'm very confident we're going to break that all-time high this year. So that's number one. And I really could see Chainlink because of its use in the now, real world use versus utility. We're talking about crypto utility right now only because Chainlink is used so often and critical. I really could see it breaking triple digits. That's right, going over 100. But at the very least, we're going to get back to 55 is my guess. Okay. Now, the circulating supply is a little bit more than I'd like, but not too bad, actually. 568 million at 57% of the supply. Listen to this volume today, Mr. FOMO, as people get back into Chainlink after the dip. Today's daily volume, 862.7 million. That's a 74% increase Now remember, even though we're in a bull run, we're not full go bull run yet. What is this going to do once Bitcoin really rallies and then the alts kind of follow? Because this one earlier this year, remember, we got all the way almost to 18, right? 1768. We're back in the 14 range. I like this to get to 25. I know you don't love predictions at some point in January, picking it up at 14. You could sell it when it gets close to 25 and make a really, really nice flip here in the next couple months. Or you could wait it out over the next 12 months and see how far it goes and see if you want to risk it seeing maybe making a run at triple digits. It's going to be a wall. It's not going to hit 100 tomorrow. So don't think that. But this one, if it does really, really well, you could see a 70 to 100 chain link here sometime during the next 12 to 16 to 18 months. So that would be one I would have. And again, always take profits no matter what. You decide when you want to take profits. But remember, if you don't take profits, none of this really matters. And that's really, really important. We want to keep.
Let me comment on those two real quick. Well, the first one, Muse, I love it. I love music. Everybody loves music. And so when music makes its way to blockchain to protect their copyrights and their, just to protect their profits, what was taken from them, I keep saying this, with file sharing will be given back with blockchain. And so I think that that's going to be an important thing in blockchain. So I like that pick. For what was your other one now? I forgot.
Chainlink.
Okay, so Chainlink is an Oracle play, right? And so, even though it has utility within crypto, but when crypto reaches mass adoption, the Oracle is going to be there. There's going to have to be an Oracle service to provide information to the blockchain to execute smart contracts. So as blockchain becomes more and more involved in the real world, oracles like Chainlink are going to be there. So I like that one too.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about some that have done very well already. You might say, well, AZ, why are you picking ones that have already run? Because they're going to continue to run. That's why. And so
they're not
my portfolio is more about, again, so some of our audience wasn't Voyager, wasn't. My portfolio is about stability and getting back as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Now, by having the stable portfolio, Mr. FOMO, and Muse is my one, kind of small cap, but this allows me, I think, to kind of make a lot more quicker in terms of stability. And then I can take more risk as time goes on, and we'll update you with those too as we get those. But Injective here has done very well this year, right? If it at one point this year, Injective, believe it or not, Mr. From, was at $1.31. We're at $34.
This is one we've also talked about on the show.
Yeah. And so you might think, well, man, this is already run. What are you doing? Okay. The market cap actually is only at 2.9 billion. That's actually not that bad. The circulating supply is only 83.8 million. All right. There are some with better tokenomics, but the daily volume on this one is always high. Today was 276.3 million, right? That's a 2.9 billion is a lot, but it's not that much during a bull run for one of the big dogs. And this one is a newer token. It was not around really for the last bull run. You have to take that in consideration. So these all-time highs of 44.86, don't be afraid of those. Okay, this is going to break all-time highs early in 2024, right? And again, this is one I easily could see going to triple digits in the next 12 months. Okay, obviously that's at least a 3.5x. And why don't we save, Mr. FOMO, the Voyager questions for after my portfolio, and then you can address that and you get into yours, because we don't want this show to drag on too long here. And then my last one here, and again, this might not be the most exciting, but I'm just telling you guys, these things are not done running. Solana. Okay, Solana's been strong. It's been one of the leaders. Absolutely gone to 20 and 100 from the summer to this winter here. And again, you might say, oh, market cap, it's too high, 42.9 billion. Circulating supply right now, 430 million. Okay, but okay, people use this in crypto. The ecosystem is alive. All-time high is 260. I expect us to go well over 300. And again, I expect one of the reasons why I chose Injective and Solana, even though they're kind of higher caps, I expect them to run quicker. So it gives you the option of taking profits earlier and then getting into other smaller projects, but at least you've already won, right? You've already stabilized yourself. And if you're trying to recover from Voyager, you've already made some of that back. So it allows you to take more risks for the rest of the bull run, depending on your risk tolerance. Go ahead, Mr. Fenton.
Well, you mentioned that the high market caps on these, but when you have good projects, and Solana is one of those ones that's already proven this in the last bull run, when you have good projects and they go on a run, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are done for the bull run, right? Solana and Matic showed us that last bull run. They'd go on an incredible tear and people would say, oh, they're done. They've got to be done.
Luna before they
and
collapsed.
then they would keep going. Right. Terra Luna did the same thing. And so I think that that's kind of those are just people selling out to get their money. But I think that when you see projects that are doing well and you know why they're doing well, when you've done your research and you see that they're doing well for a reason, I think you can stick with them and expect them to do even better during the bull run, especially projects like Injective and Solana, especially Solana, because they've already proven that they can run even when their market cap balloons into the tens of billions. So I think that's a great pick. I think they're both great picks, and I think they'll do great during the bull run.
Really,
I am going to go a little bit backwards from where you
Okay.
went. I'm going to start with what I think is the safer play and then go to what's a little bit more risky.
And
so
then,
first,
Mark will address your question at the very end. Really
yes.
quick.
And so I'm going to start with Cosmos here. And one of the things that I like about Cosmos is that everybody builds on Cosmos. Not everybody, but there are a lot of people building on Cosmos. And what we saw with Cosmos during the last bull run, when Terra Luna crashed, it affected Cosmos's price a lot because they were built on Cosmos. And so when you see that much of a negative effect, you can also expect that projects that are building on Cosmos will also have a positive effect on Cosmos as well. And so with that many people building on Cosmos and that many people using Cosmos, on top of the fact that it's just a good project, I think you're going to see this one run despite that high market cap. That market cap's coming in at what, 3.8 billion? I still think that Cosmos has got a huge run ahead of it. And you can see that this is run, to a 4x from where it is now. And so I think that this will eventually get there and even beyond, because like I said, a lot of people are building on Cosmos, and Cosmos will benefit from more people using it.
I like that selection. It's still pretty far from all-time highs. It did very well at the end of the last bull run as well. And so I think things will pick up. It hasn't really run as much as some of my picks. All-time high, $44.80. This year, it's only gotten, it's actually trying to recover from when it was at $15.44 or getting it under 10.
That's a great price right there.
Like it a lot. Next one.
All right, so the next one I'm going to go to is Quant. I did a big video on this earlier this year, and the one thing that I really like about Quant is interoperability. With a lot of projects, think of sending money on blockchain like sending emails that have value, right? But in most blockchain projects, you can only send that money to other people using the same addresses within the same blockchain. Quant is trying to get rid of that. Not only is it super fast, but they're also trying to address the interoperability problem in blockchain. And so Quant wants you to be able to send your Bitcoin over to somebody else who's using Ethereum, and they want you to be able to change that money almost as a one-to-one. And on top of that, they've got NFTs, they've got all kinds of stuff going on in this. So I think that this is a good project. A little bit further down the list at 55 with a $1.5 billion market cap. Again, it's one of those projects that I did a video on earlier. You can catch that video if you look back through our videos. But it's a project that generates a lot of interest when you talk about it online. And I think there's a lot of people waiting to see what Quant does. And I think there are going to be a lot of people that are excited about this project simply because of interoperability plays. I think utility and interoperability are going to be big moving forward in blockchain.
I like that. spent time on that in the summer. The tokenomics are really good. Again, this is a project I think that has a lot of room to grow. I love that pick a lot. And if you bought that when Mr. FOMO was talking about it, you were already in the green. And 1.5 billion, not that big. 12 million, like you said, circulating supply out of 81% total. Love those tokenomics. Great pick.
Right. The next one I'm going to go to is simply because AI is hot. And so I'm looking around and I'm trying to find an AI token. And what I found is Fetch AI. And you know that we talked about this, I think a little bit over a month ago, maybe, or maybe a couple of weeks ago again. But Fetch AI is blockchain AI. It's 101 on CoinMarketCap's list, but they offer you the ability to use blockchain to build AI platforms for whatever business you have out there. And so it's a very ambitious project, but because of that broad array of industries that they can serve, and the fact that they're bringing AI into it, and the fact that they're incorporating blockchain, it's one of those things that I think is going to get a lot of attention, especially if they prove that what they're doing can work. And so the more people start to use this and the more we get into the bull run, I really think, and the fact that AI is just hot on everyone's tongues right now, it's on the tip of everybody's tongue, I think that this project will run just based on that association. On top of that, it's a 500 million market cap. And so there is room to run there where those other projects that I mentioned may not have room to run, just simply on the fact that the market cap is a lot lower.
Yeah, there's going to be an AI run. So at some point, Fetch is going to be part of that run. And so I'm glad I didn't put an AI in there, and that would be one later that I would get during the rest of the bull run. And I think AI will definitely have its time. I don't think it might be right away right now, but I love that selection.
All right. And now the last one I'm going to do is a little bit associated with gaming. You know, I've talked about it before, and so you're probably thinking I'm a little bit of a shill on this one, but it's the Efinity token. It's the metaverse token for the Engine project. You know how much I love gaming. You know how big the gaming industry is. You know how much money is spent in gaming every year. We're talking about something that's probably approaching $1 trillion industry. And so when you have the opportunity to get into gaming with a token like Engine, you probably jump at that. But when Engine creates their own metaverse in order to bring their, what they're doing is paradigm shifting gaming from you buying things that are only specific to you, that only you can use, to you buying and, improving, or you creating and improving and then selling those things for profit within the gaming universe. And the Efinity metaverse is going to be that marketplace for those in-game NFTs, whether they be skins, whether they be weapons, whether they be, whatever. You have the ability to create, to improve, and then to see that value return to you within this metaverse. And so just because of that paradigm shift, because of that idea that could be so game-changing within the gaming industry, I feel like you want to grab one of these tokens for sure. But when you see that Efinity is down at a $14 million market cap, I think that you probably take a look at that a little bit harder. In addition to that, this is going to be the marketplace for Engine's paradigm shifting ideas. And so in the end, this is going to be the place where people spend their time. Engine's going to create the games, but if people are really buying and selling NFTs with in-game value, this is where it's going to happen. And so I'm putting a little bit of money here. I already have, and you guys know that. And I think that this one, being that it's 849 on the CoinMarketCap list, I think that this one has a chance to really explode, just on the fact that it's linked to Engine and gaming, and that this will be the marketplace where they trade those NFTs.
So really quickly, Woods 456 talks about HBAR. That would definitely also be on a short list.
That one almost made my list too.
Yeah, and that's a controversial one, but we'll go into more. We've done HBAR topics before. We've talked about on the show, but we'll bring that back as a topic in the future. Don't you,
Bobby Digital dropping knowledge there?
There was a question. Mark asked, why can't Voyager just send us the money and tell FTX to kick rocks? Because then they would be sued. And
Yeah, they'd be
Paul Hague-
liable for that money if
yeah,
that
and Paul
if
Hague
it
doesn't
turned out
want
that it
that,
wasn't.
and so
We all agree that
yeah, we're
FTX
free of
was
market.
giving
They're just
out
not
fake
going to do it.
tokens with FTT, and so in the end, that's the hope, is that the judge will see that, but we have to wait and see.
Yeah, and so before it gets to a judge, you hope that mediation works. And again, right now, let's hope, guys, let's hope things turn in the next 30 to 60 days on this. I'm not that optimistic. If you're a Voyager customer waiting for a next distribution, you might be waiting for a while, but keep it here. We gave you some great picks, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, bell notification. Also, super chats are available if you want to help us out. But if you
And
just
hit
want
the
to
merch
share
store.
the show, yeah, but if you just want to share the show, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Guys, you have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you later this week. Bye, everybody.
See ya.